Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. This evening's topic is your workplace toxic? Now I want to shed light on the topic. I'm going to keep this video pretty short because this is more of a public service announcement for everybody who goes to work. Now, for the most part, when I look at today's workforce compared to the workforces 30 or even 40 years ago, today's workforce is no loyalty. Managers don't care about the employees. Employees don't care about the employees. Everything is basically run by these crazy metrics that you have to meet for your organization. Although the intent is good, with these metrics basically lower your production because you want to do everything according to the metric, and what that does is the quality of your production and your workforce goes down. Now, that being said, you can do a good job when you're on a job, but guess what? You'll be out of a job as well. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to use sports as an example so you'll understand where I'm coming from. Just this past month, we've gone into the baseball postseason. And there were two teams who won their respective divisions. Boston won the Eastern Division, and the Washington Nationals also won the Eastern Division. Boston's in the American League, Washington is in the National League. But what was oh so similar about these two teams is once they lost the division series, their managers were terminated. Now, I looked at both managers, John Farrell, who used to manage the Toronto Blue Jays. He led the Boston Red Sox to a few Eastern Division championships and the 2013 World Championship. Dusty Baker, now remember Dusty Baker, when he played for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I believe he played for the Giants. He managed the Giants. He's been with the Cubs organization, and he's also been with the Cincinnati Reds, and now, well, he was with the Washington Nationals. He did a good job with the Washington Nationals. Now, if you guys follow me on this video, you're going to understand what I'm saying. You could do a good job at work and still be without a job. And when you have a revolving door of managers, just like the hospitality industry does, your workplace is toxic. Why? Because you have no leadership. You have no direction. You're just a body that they hire to do the crummy work that they ask you to do because they don't care about you as a person. And a lot of these companies don't. They're not loyal. They don't want to give you benefits. Hell, they don't even want to pay you the wage that you're worth. And if they could get away with paying you peanuts, they would. But what I'm saying when it comes to toxic workplaces, you have a lot of stress within these workplaces. Why? Well, if you're not part of the clique, and if you're not kissing ass, then you're going to be an outcast, and you're not going to be able to get promoted. You're not going to get any raises. And they're going to find ways to get you out the door. The workplace has become a circus. Professionalism has definitely sunk into an all-new low. In fact, you have a number of individuals who are in management positions who don't have qualities or qualifications personally and or task-wise to even be in a management position, delegating authority to their subordinates who know more than they do. I know I've been there myself. There is a lot of incompetence in the workplace. And I want you all to let me know your situation in the comment section when it comes to your workplace, because a lot of us don't talk about our workplace because we go there, we do our job so we can make money. However, Do you want to be in a toxic workplace to where you feel you're not getting compensated? How many people have gone to work and they've had other coworkers tattle on them? They've had managers tell them to their face in an unprofessional way that you suck and you shouldn't be there. I'm your boss. We do it my way. This is how we do it here. We want to meet the metric. All kinds of excuses have come from managers who are incompetent. And then you have the employee who's always sneaking behind your back instead of doing their work. They're always worried about what you're doing, thinking that if they can tattle like children, they're going to get ahead. I personally had people work for me like that, and I'd fire them. And I tell you what, for my company, Quality Control Inspection Services, kissing ass is not allowed. Because if I see it, you're gone. No ifs, ands, or buts. Because if you don't get rid of the tattletales and the people causing you problems, like some of your management individuals, well, your company's going to go down the drain. You're going to have a number of employees who are going to come home stressed. And this is where you get individuals who are acting crazy, going back, or they're going back to their workplace, shooting up their workplace. This is what happened in Maryland. It was an African-American guy. He went back to his workplace. He shot 5 people, killed 3, and I believe he went to Wilmington, Delaware, and shot another person. Well, this is happening, and it's going to continue to happen. Why? Because workplaces are toxic, and we always get on the person who gets angry when they're being attacked by their coworkers and managers and even HR. But what about the perpetrators? That's what I have a hard time figuring out. Because if I go to work all day and I'm trying to do my job, and I'm constantly barraged with a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of childish talk that I don't want to get involved with, that starts to get my mind going when it comes to thinking about, do I want to be here or be somewhere else? I mean, we all have to go to work. But why should you have to go to work when it comes to stress? Now, a lot of people complain about their jobs, but they won't leave their jobs. Why? Because they believe that they can't find another job. You can find another job. What you have to do, you have to continually put resumes out. Find a job that you like. Better yet, if you have a good talent, start your own business. Be self-employed. Being self-employed is not a bad idea if you have a talent. And some of the jobs that you can do, you might laugh at me when I say this, start your little hot dog cart. Drive a truck. Do your own catering business. Be an event planner. These are some of the jobs that come to mind. But the bottom line is you want to alleviate being in a toxic workplace because you're not going to get anything done. You're not going to get promoted. And you think discrimination is not running rampant? Of course it's running rampant. Sexual harassment is running rampant. But a lot of issues get swept under the rug if you're in the clique. And that's why these workplaces are circuses. Because you have too many people who are going to work making fools out of themselves. And the fools are the ones who are always cackling and gossiping. They're going behind your back, telling. And if you don't work within the confines of the clique, or the good old boy system, or the good old girl system, then you're going to find yourself out of a job. Have you ever heard this old saying, the people who do the most work do not get promoted, but the people who do the less work or the lazy people become your boss? Well, there's a reason for that. They become your boss because they're too incompetent to do work. But these are the people that they put in leadership positions who are supposed to be driving the organization. But what they do, they drive your organization into a cliff. Why? Because they have no idea what they're doing. And if many of you go to work, we have programs in place like affirmative action. Now, I'm not knocking affirmative action. We should have affirmative action because there are some groups who can't get ahead, but you should not base affirmative action off of quotas. That's the problem with affirmative action. And believe it or not, when it comes to affirmative action, this is going to shock a number of people. You want to know who benefits off of affirmative action more than anybody else? White women do. And if you don't believe me, you go into your workplace and you look at how many white women are in positions of power. And I'm not talking about just frontline supervisory positions. I'm talking about middle management and even some in the executive management. And the funny thing about that is, with black women, Hispanic women, and Asian women, and even Asian men, well, men don't make up but one quota. Ethnic women make up 2 quotas. But I don't see enough ethnic women in any positions of power. They may have a few, but most of your bosses are white women. And they definitely benefit off of Title IX and affirmative action. I'm not saying that they're incompetent, but there are a number of them, men or women, men and women, who are put in these positions and they don't know anything. They're not responsible people. In fact, I look at how the younger generation, when they manage a workforce, they don't know what they're doing. They're put in positions too fast because they don't have any idea of how their organization works anyway. And when they run it like a gossip train. I've worked at my fair share of companies. And I see what goes on in the office. And if you are serious about getting your work done, a toxic workplace is not where you want to be. Now, the way you handle a toxic workplace is, number one, when you are going job hunting, do some research in a company. That's right. Let me repeat that again. Do some research into the company that you are seeking. And a place where you can get some good reviews is Glassdoor. Glassdoor. Glassdoor.com. You go onto that site, you type that organization in, and you look at the reviews. And if the reviews are bad, you don't want to go to that company. In fact, Glassdoor has pros and cons, and it also has what managers should do to help their employees. That's how I've found most of my jobs. But going back to the workforce, because I just mentioned the generational gap, because when it comes to the generational gap, most of us old heads out here, we grew up at a time where you needed good work ethic. I'm not saying all the young folks are bad, but I can tell you right now, a number of them don't have good work ethic, and that also makes your workforce toxic. How many young people on your job have called in sick, especially in the summertime? And what happens when they call in sick? You end up doing double work. How many of them have gone on vacations? See, when you have all this going on and you don't have anybody to actually manage it, that's because the supervisors don't care. Why don't they care? Because they're only there to comply with the objective of the company. And do you think your executive managers care? Absolutely not. Why? Because they're always going to make their money. In fact, a lot of your executives don't even know what's going on at the company level, and they don't take time to know. Now, if you've seen the show Undercover Boss, that will give you an indication. Because I was watching an episode one time where Boss was undercover, and it was DirecTV. And the funny thing about that show that I was watching is he didn't know anything about installing satellite dishes on houses. Now, to me, a good boss knows how to do the dirty work, but he didn't. The technician had to tell him how to install a satellite dish. Now, you talk about your workforce being toxic and being the circus, that's an example. And that's what we are working with today. We're working with a bunch of imbeciles who have no idea of how to run a business, run an organization, and they don't care if they run it to the ground. And you also have to look at different cultures. Today's culture is made up so much of the social media craze, the technology craze, and you have a number of people on their cell phones. I love cell phones. But the problem with the cell phones, the computers, and even emails, when I email back and forth, I don't understand half the time what individuals tell me in an email, so I have to get up and have them explain it to me. See, when you have a workplace and it's toxic, basically it's everything goes. It may be disguised that your workplace has some type of structure and standards. It doesn't. In fact, most workplaces today are nothing but circuses. And they become toxic because you have individuals who, number one, are immature and they're incompetent. And number three, they don't have any professionalism. They'll talk to you any way they want to and be unfazed about how they talk to you. But if you say your piece, they want to run down to HR and get your job terminated. And again, if you look at people who do produce, just like some of these football and baseball coaches, and yes, it happens out in the real world too. You could be a good producer, hard worker, but once you give them what they want and they got the use out of you, guess what they do? They let you go. And that's what's happening in this culture. And this is why you have a lot of workplace violence. And it's up to management and leadership to make sure that the workplace is a not only safe place to work, but a pleasant and professional environment. And if you individuals occupy management positions, you need to show an example to your employees of how professionalism should be. A number of you aren't. And this is the reason why the workplace is toxic today. Because a number of you got promoted because you didn't know what you were doing. Now, I'm not saying every manager and every executive is bad, but when I look at today's workforce, it's very mediocre. Like, a lot of people have job titles and they don't even know what their responsibilities are because they're not responsible. They just go along to get along, and that's the problem in the workplace. Nobody wants to speak up. Why? Because it threatens the narrative or the status quo. But if you're going to be in the workplace today, you must understand that it is going to be toxic every day you go into work. Even days that you might not think it's toxic. Yes, it's toxic. You might not be involved in all the gossiping. You might not be involved and all of the discipline or the face-to-face meetings. But trust me, the workplace is going to be toxic around you because the people around you make it toxic. It's great to go to work. Now, I just got off of working nights, but be that as it may, working nights wasn't bad. You have to get used to the hours of 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. But the bottom line is, when it comes to those hours, there's nobody there to bother you. You can actually get some work done. And I know when it comes to the workplace, individuals want to talk about teamwork, and it's all this group think theory that's taking place too. Everybody doesn't think in a group. You have to have your group meetings, but being part of a team is also understanding yourself as an individual, what you can deliver to the team, what you can bring the team. And being an individual, you have to know how to speak well, how to listen, and you have to know how to take criticism. You have to learn how to research. You have to learn how to be professional, and you have to be mature about the situation that you're being placed in when it comes to work. Now, I don't have a problem going to work, but I do have a problem going to work and it's toxic, because a toxic workplace is not constructive. It's destructive. And it's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Friday, October 20th, 2017. You can tune in to the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest calling number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube, so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't engage in any debates, controversy, or emotional issues. Now, that's based on how my audience perceives the message. Now, if you become emotional over the truth, then this channel is not for you. Because what I strive for here at the 411 Talk Zone radio show is the truth. This is why I don't engage in any drama or unnecessary bickering, because it is counterproductive. My job is to teach, give you the information that's going to help you understand how the real world works. Because if you don't have any tools or any knowledge of how the real world works, you're going to struggle. And you're going to be in one of those toxic workplaces. So if you have knowledge, you got power. And if you have a business, a topic, or a new YouTube channel that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, feel free to email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, this is the best part. Leave your comment in the comment section. But make sure your comment is under the video. Also, your comments must be pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering, if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other, and have a wonderful and blessed night. Good night.